Up, mortgage coach community? Dave Savage coming to you live from Adventure Lender Van. Is that what we call it?
Yeah, sure, that works.
Sean Herrero. I'm in Northern California. I have been up here for the past 2 days trading WoW with the Social Survey crew. So anybody from Social Survey or anyone who uses it, what's up? Had an amazing day yesterday at their corporate headquarters in San Ramon. And we're in Danville right now, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So we're broadcasting live out of Sean's dam. We're gonna talk about what Sean's doing to crush it as a mortgage professional, but more importantly, do life. The way he's doing life, living his dream, living his passion, being his authentic self, and being really successful. It's a cool story. So we're gonna talk about that. We got Michelle Town. What's up, Michelle?
Happy Friday, everybody. Sorry I've missed you guys the last couple weeks. Glad to be back.
We missed you, Michelle. So let's do this. Let's for like the first 20 minutes talk about Sean, what he's doing, learn some stuff from him, and then if you could be thinking of a big idea or concept that you'd like to talk about. Want to remind you guys this is in Facebook Live in our group. So if you have a question, a topic, anything you want us to cover, put it down below. And also, for those of you that are watching in Zoom, if you have questions in Zoom, let us know. So Sean, I've interviewed you a bunch of times, brother.
Yeah.
For anybody who doesn't know you, just tell a little bit about your mortgage practice.
Yeah, so I'm Sean Herrero.
Hey, we can't see your head.
Oh, I'm gonna take a knee, but in a good way. I'm Sean Herrero. I'm a mortgage advisor in California, Bay Area. I've been in the business for 18 years, but I've been originating for 2.5. And for me, it's fun. I just wanted to be as authentic as possible. And I'm a big fan of, what'd you say, niches create riches?
Yeah, niches.
So I love that.
There's riches and niches.
Riches and niches. I know I can't serve everyone, so I just really wanted to reach the people I felt I identified with and could serve the best, the fastest. So my goal is always to get to yes or no as fast as possible. And I just kind of went all in on a personal brand.
And that personal brand is?
Adventure Lender, at Adventure Lender on Instagram. And then it kind of took off from there. And it's just, I'm an outdoors guy. I like to have fun. I like the van life movement. That enables me to use technology more in my business to help people all over the place. I just kind of went all in on that.
So yeah, so we're broadcasting live. What kind of van is this?
Mercedes Sprinter.
So Mercedes Sprinter, we're pulled up into a cool neighborhood park. We were talking about going to the top of Mount Diablo, one of Sean's favorite places. Good for email, but not great for streaming video. So we didn't go to the top of Mount Diablo.
Right.
But bottom line is he's got his company brand on the outside of this van, so it's a lead magnet.
Yeah.
And then let's talk about your loan production. You've been doing it for 2 years. Mm-hmm. How many loans are you closing right now on average?
I probably close about 5 a month on average, but my average loan amount's about 700. And that's actually something I'm working on. I'm trying to become much more there's tons of jumbo in Silicon Valley. First time home buyers are buying homes for 1.6 million, which is great, but I like conventional. There's more speed with conventional. So I'm trying to become the high balance pro.
And what's your month going to look like this month?
I'll do 8 million this month, which is going to be my best month ever. That's not normal, but this is like my best ever. Prior it was 7 million.
Okay, so it's had a 7 million month, had an 8 million month. I mean, guys, killing it, doing lifestyles, being super unique, doing video. Let's talk about video and advice, because I think those are two things that our community, we're big on. We believe that there's riches and niches. We believe that you should be an advisor. Mm-hmm. What does that mean to you? Like, what is the difference between a loan officer and advisor from your perspective?
That's perfect. A friend of mine is a firefighter. He's buying his first home. He's panicked. He's working with U.S. Bank. He's up in the Sacramento area of California. He's getting zero advice. I told him he's getting a good mortgage, but he's getting a bad experience because no one's walking him through how it works. And I can hear the panic in his voice when we talk. So just last night, I told him, he called panicked. I told him I'd build out a comparison to show him, hey, you're getting a good loan. It's a no mortgage insurance doctor loan from U.S. Bank. I'll show you that you're getting a good mortgage because I'll show you what it would be with me with mortgage insurance. So I built out a TCA form last night. And in that process, I realized I know what the US Bank guy's doing. He's not giving him a special loan. He's just giving him upfront mortgage insurance, and he's kind of bait and switching it. And now I can illustrate that and give him guidance. So of course now I'll do the mortgage for him instead because he's not getting a better deal. And that's just part of, I think, the process. I think for me, working with first-time home buyers who are buying homes for 1.6 million as their first home, it's a lot of money and they need to understand how it works. And so using video enables me to have a face-to-face conversation with people who don't have time to have face-to-face conversations. And then I can use TCAs to illustrate and educate instead of telling them how things work. I always say, I'll give you my professional opinion, but what's more important to me is that you have the data and analysis that my opinion is based upon, so you can create your own opinion.
Cool. So I'm going to be in Facebook when I'm not talking, answering any questions that come up. Also, if you're not watching this live, because let's face it, it's a holiday weekend. You know, Memorial Day is Monday. There'll be a lot of people that are watching the recording of this even after the holiday. So I'll keep an eye on this. If you have questions, let us know. So tell me what you think. I'd love to have you chime in on this, Michelle, too. Like, I think when things go from price to advice, there's a couple things that happen. Like, price is rate, closing cost, and monthly payment. That's on a fee worksheet. That's price. And I think the first milestone of advice is when there's options. Like, without options, there's no advice.
Right.
And then I think when it really starts to become next level advice is when you're showing people the difference between options over windows of time that matter to them. You know, so it's like, oh, you said you wanted to move up in a bigger home in 3 years or 5 years, and you're showing the options within the context of that. Oh, you said you want to be debt free and have your home paid off in 15 years, and we're looking at, so like, options and time periods. And then where I think big advice comes is when you start saying, well, what if you did this option, that option, 5 years you have this goal, 15 years you want to be debt free. What if you prepaid your mortgage? Or what if you invested that money in an asset account? Now you're an advisor. Right. You're a black belt in advice. Right. Am I missing anything?
No, I think that's it. And as things are shifting, right? So I think anyone who thinks our industry isn't going to change it's already changed. And so for me, you know, as automation comes through and as the internet comes through more and more, I look at it like taxes. You can file with TurboTax on your own. You can use H&R Block, which is a level above that, or you can use a CPA. I've always used the CPA because the cost that I spend on him giving me his service has saved me more than it's cost me. And I look at what we do in the mortgage coach community as being the same. You know, yes, somebody can go to Quicken Online and they can get a quote and be done, but they're getting a mortgage. They're not getting the right mortgage. They're just getting a mortgage. So for me, it's really educating. And even if I lose, you know, I hit this point last year, I was kind of being selfish where I was like, I'm not going to do TCAs because people are shopping so much. I'm not doing a TCA until they're committed to me. And it was a very selfish approach because what happens? We end up coaching our competition sometimes.
Right.
I'm okay with that. You know, I'm going to do what I do every single time. And if I lose the deal, but they ended up with better advice, I still won in a way. I still stood out as being a very knowledgeable expert. So I've just kind of committed to doing the right thing, like helping everyone. Everyone gets a TCA regardless if they use me or not. And by changing that mentality or philosophy, I've been winning more.
So Michelle, I want to get your feedback on this. Before I do that, I want to showcase 2 interviews that were released into the Mortgage Coach YouTube channel this week. I interviewed a top loan officer out of Washington, D.C., Craig Strent. Craig is just a consummate professional, and he does about $50 million a year in production. And he is also CEO of a mortgage company that has like 30 loan officers. So, I mean, he's a very successful mortgage executive and mortgage planner. And all of his business comes from financial advisors. That's his niche. And I put the link in the chat, but I think it's a new requirement that every mortgage coach who's an advisor can show a 15-year versus a 30-year over 15 years. He really makes an incredible case that don't do the 15-year loan, do the 30-year loan, pay it like a 15-year loan. And not only will you have more liquidity throughout that period of time, but you'll actually have more money. So at the end of the 50 years, you'll have enough money to pay off your mortgage and still have some left.
Yep.
And if you can't deliver that, you're missing out. You know, because here's the other deal. Because he works with financial advisors, he's had a lot of people that are like, oh, should I buy the house cash or should I leverage a mortgage? Oh, should I put 50% down or 20% down? And if you know how to use Mortgage Coach, if you know how to be an advisor, you can have a really valuable client
100%.
or valuable conversation.
Yeah, 100%.
Michelle, what are your thoughts? You know, where does it go from price to advice, and what is a black belt in advice in your mind?
Well, first of all, I always use the let go, let God, right? So sometimes we hold too tight onto those loans and we end up losing them because we're holding on too tight. So I'm very much like Sean. I'm going to give them the experience that I'm able to provide for them, and then I'm going to let them make the decision. I'm not a high pressure salesperson, never have been. I'm an educator. There are going to be those people that want the cheapest rate, could care less. And I love what you said, Sean. You're getting a mortgage. You can go on and go to Quicken. You're getting a mortgage. You're not getting an experience. You're not getting any advice on why that's better. Quicken right now is hitting that 15-year like crazy right now. They want everybody to refinance in a 15-year. That's why I love that, video, because it's not absolutely the right thing for everybody, because you can do the same thing with a 30-year and have more liquidity, which right now is so much more important. The other thing that I love, Sean, that you do, and you've always done this really well. I mean, you live your life. You've always been an outdoorsman. I mean, one of the things that you did at RPM, your first video, we were laughing earlier because neither of us did videos. Your first video was on the top of one of the mountains that you had climbed, and you're like, this is how hard I work for you. And I love that because you're making it personal. And, we have such a luxury in our business where we can work from a mobile car. We can work from home. We can do this because we're more effective with the technology that's available today. So I love that you embrace that. And you're one of those true originators. You're true to who you are, which is so important because it makes your job so much easier. So I love that. Having an experience versus, selling a mortgage. I mean, same thing. I use the TCA. If I know somebody's shopping me, first thing I do is go to bankrate.com and put whatever I see, the first rate I see, and I put that on my rate sheet. I go, I'm going to give you that rate. Let's take the objection out, but let me show you a couple other things. And then, with what you showed us a couple months ago about being able to use that reinvestment strategy, I had no idea how to use that on Mortgage Coach. I've been using Mortgage Coach for 4 years. I had no idea. I'm still learning how to use it. So thank you for being the forerunner for us and showing us some of that stuff, because it really helped my business.
So another thought. So Eddie, what's up? I just saw Eddie say hi. Remember, guys, if you're on Facebook Live, ask questions, comments, share takeaways. So tactically, we covered the difference between price and advice. But tell me if you agree with this. Like, I think it always starts with the why. Like I interviewed Rick Bittencourt. Top loan officer, is going to do about 50 million this year. He's also the president of NAM, so he's doing a lot of service for our industry. But about 90% of his business is serving the military. And one of the things when I started out the interview with him, because he's so heavily military, he started off with, I don't think of myself as a loan officer. I think of myself as a benefits administrator. Like military have served the country, and a VA loan isn't a loan program. It's a benefit that we give them to serve our country. So it's like his why is just, it's not a loan officer. It's like, I asked him, why do you do a total cost analysis? It's because giving a family that served our country a benefit and giving them the education of understanding how to build wealth with real estate faster. Or, and he made a really good point, like whenever I serve active military, I'm doing 1 to 3 years. I'm not showing them the difference 5 years, 15 years from now. Active military, it's 1 to 3, because they want to know how much equity they're going to have in their home, whether they're going to get landlocked. And he goes, so I want you guys to all think about that. Like if you're not doing a total cost analysis and you're not showing every family options, and you're not showing every family the cost in different periods of time, it's probably because you have a loan officer why. Your why is, I'm a loan officer, I solve problems, I'm an expert on rates and fees. I deliver a great transaction experience. So you have to, take inventory on your why. If your why is to do something bigger than be a loan officer, then you're going to do the tactics. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, no. So I always say, and we've talked about this, about scripting, and I hate the word scripting. And I say none of us are in sales. We're all in service. You're not selling an interest rate. Mortgage Coach is not a sales tool. It's a service tool, because you think about that. They can copy that link and send it to any mortgage person they want. They can send it to their parents, and their parents will say, use Bank of America. You're not selling them with that, but you're providing the most value in service to your clients or leads, potential clients. So I fully believe in that. And again, from a selfish perspective, last year, I was like, man, I'm doing all this work, creating these TCAs, coaching my competition. I'm not doing it anymore. If they're not committed to me, I'm not giving them my value. And how broken is that mentality? And I realized that about myself. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do the right thing. It's always the right thing, and leave it at that. And so I totally agree. I mean, it's service. We're all in service. None of us are in sales. Even realtors, they're not in sales either. I mean, you're not selling a home, you're showing a home. So the sooner we embrace that we're in service, the better.
No, well said. And that just reminded me, there was a post this week where someone said, hey, I'm getting my TCA shopped more right now. And I can't remember I interviewed Bliss Sawyer, who won the Mortgage Coach game last month. And she said, I'm getting shopped like 2 to 3x this year over last year. And, my answer is, and it's going to continue.
Right.
Now that Zillow's in the mortgage business, rate shopping has never been easier. It's not about what you deliver. It's about the experience. And so it's about giving an advice experience. And then it's also about realizing that you're not going to have the lowest rate. Like if they can shop online and they're always going to know the lowest rate, you're probably always going to be a quarter to 3 is higher. Mm-hmm. So you need to have delivered so much value in terms of, you ask great questions, you listen to their answers, you're a creative finance expert, you showed them mortgage strategies that are helping them achieve their goals, and that you provided so much value and so much connection, like you really connected with them in a way that was unique and special, that even though you have a higher rate, they're going to do business with you. Michelle, before we get into the connection, and I want to use this term called digital presence, because I just think that, in a world where it's driven by screen time and we live in digital land, we need to elevate our presence. So any comments on that before we move on?
Yeah, well, one thing I wanted to say about Michelle real quick, because one thing I tell real estate agents, and I think we all need to be doing as well, is you have to question tradition. And one thing people have been stuck on is being a local lender. There's a real estate agent in my market that works, I think, almost exclusively with Michelle. And we're in opposite ends of California.
Really?
And, oh, yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
Michelle, you know who he's talking about?
Did we lose her?
We might have lost Michelle temporarily.
Well, we'll tell that story when we come back.
All right.
But so yeah, so what I do is my YouTube channel. Oh, there she is. She's back.
Hey, Michelle, did you hear what Sean just said?
I did. Yes, I do know who that realtor is within Herrero. Yeah, and they love me, and they don't care where I work, because we don't meet face to face anymore. I do meetings. By the way, I do a Zoom meeting with every client. So I put them on video, and we connect this way. And one of the things that I've been watching, and everybody's trying to get everybody to come into their office. With the technology that we have right now, we have to remember that they're just as busy as we are. So when I turn it around and say, hey, I know that you've got family things that you want to do, I want you to be comfortable. Would you mind? Let's try Zoom. If it doesn't work, I'm happy to meet face to face with you. But let's try it this way first. I have not had one person want to come meet me in person after we've done the Zoom. I don't know if that's good or bad, but I'm assuming it's good.
No, I think it just speaks to what it is. And so that's where, again, going back to the van thing, that's one of the reasons I built it. Was I work in Silicon Valley, and people would say, well, where's your office? I'm like, why does it doesn't matter where my office is. We're not going to meet at my office anyways. So I need to overcome that objection. And that's one of the things that got me to the van. But and the demographic that this particular agent works with is a heavy rate shopping demographic. And Michelle is winning with that group a lot. So I just thought that was, when I saw that, I thought it was really cool. And it just shows, like, anyone who's on this call, that if we all have fear, like, I need to be local, I can't do this, I can't do that. I think a lot of our fears are wrong, and we can overcome them using everything we're talking about, using video to create a human experience, using Mortgage Coach to create a transparent experience.
So let's transition to presence, to connection, to winning local. You know, I mean, Michelle is winning local, and she can live anywhere and win local because she's leveraging technology. And I don't know how much you leverage your office, but I mean, let's face it. I want to be very clear. We're going to cover ideas around using technology to create presence and connection, but no doubt, getting face to face, knee to knee, like the time you and I spend together like this, it's better than being on Zoom.
Totally.
You know, so if you get a family to come into your office, and then when they leave your office, they've downloaded your app, they know how to connect with you digitally afterwards, that is the best. But let's just go through a list of all the things loan officers can do to create digital presence. Mm-hmm. So what are all the things you're doing?
So I don't use Zoom on every, I like that idea. I'll probably steal that from Michelle. I don't use Zoom, but I will. I do it sporadically. For me, it's a TCA. So basically, I'll go from referral, because most of my business is realtor referral. So realtor refers me by email, most likely. I'll send an email. I'll do a 5 to 10 minute conversation with the buyer to get an idea of what's important to them. They'll apply. They'll fill out the application. I'll get them pre-approved. I send them a TCA. And then I send a video. I send the TCA through BombBomb with a video explanation above it. And that's kind of my flow.
Okay. And then are you also doing text to text videos?
Yes. Not as much. I'm doing it more with realtors than I am with the clients. But because for me, again, most of my clients are Silicon Valley, so it means they're in meetings constantly. You know, if I do get to do phone calls with them, it's at 9 p.m. because they just ended calls in China. So it's the group I'm working with is very hard to reach. So we do a lot more email videos, and then like more scheduled calls, I guess, to discuss the TCA.
Okay, so guys, I also just put in chat an interview with Brian Manning. Brian's going to do 20 loans. Did 20 loans last month. You know, awesome. $100 million producer out of Boulder. I think he had moved to Boulder, I want to say 7-ish years ago, but he's killing it. I mean, he's one of the top lenders in that market now, uses total cost analysis. So I mean, one thing you're finding more and more common, that if you want to win, whether you're local, whether you're online, if you want to win and you're a referral-based professional, total cost analysis, you have to do that. Mm-hmm. But how you do video is different. Like the way he does video is he literally does like 100 to 200 text-to-text videos to his realtors weekly. Yeah. And he'll even have like, I can't read what that says, Michelle.
I am moving to, we lost her. We lost her
Michelle,
audio.
We can't hear you.
I'm moving to phone.
Oh, okay. Michelle's moving to phone, everybody. All right.
Starts with.
Okay, so we'll keep going. Hopefully everybody can hear us. If we're coming through loud and clear, give us a little heads up that you can hear us in chat real quick, guys. But here's the deal. He's like literally time blocking. I think it's on Fridays, 2 hours, and he is just knocking out video after video. And the gist of it is, I'm working this weekend. You know, if he saw something on Facebook or social media that was on point, he'll give a little on point. I know you. I'm working this weekend. Call me if you need me. Boom. I mean, most of these videos are 30 seconds, and he's knocking out like 50, 100 at a time. Boom, 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 boom. So I think that's a sweet idea. Recommend the community does that. I interviewed Josh Metal a few weeks ago, and after every phone call, because he does all online business, focuses on doctors, riches and niches, gets off the phone, leaves a 30-second to 1 minute video, and then delivers a TCA, schedules it using our live feature, and puts a video on it. Digital presence.
Right.
So guys, any questions from the community, bring it in. Eddie, I see you active. Michael, VA is a benefit, not a product. Rangers lead the way. Right on that, by the way, Michael. I've got to share this testimonial. It came in, I can't remember who shared it, a couple weeks ago. but they delivered a total cost analysis with a video to a active Marine, and the active Marine's response back was, "Thank you so much for the detailed information, the video. All I can think about is how I want to go see the last two lenders I've done business with, and punch them in the face." So that's the other thing, is that this is what families want.
Mm-hmm.
So any other video ideas that you did?
Yeah. So going back to rate shopping. So this is something I've been meaning to make. We get defensive over things like that, and we all know the internet's wrong, and it's probably a bait and switch. It's just a lead generation tool. Educate your clients on that. So make a screen capture video of bankrate.com and click through like they would, and then show where the disclosure says, this is not an actual rate quote. It's an advertisement from these companies, and we were paid to show this rate. Okay, great. I'm not selling you on this. I'm using their disclosures to illustrate that. So there's a lot of different ways to use video, but like Dave said about the guy who time blocks 2 hours to do it, if you don't time block time for videos, they won't happen. They just won't. Like the text ideas are great because those are pretty fast and simple. You could send a 30-second text video in 45 seconds, right? Record, text, send, and it's done. But if you're trying to build like a library of content, you have to time block. So that's a big focus for me right now, is building a YouTube channel. My goal is to become the best online lender and local lender at the same time. They don't have to choose. You can have both. But I have to create the content to where people can find me online. How do I deliver value if they can't find me?
Let's talk about that YouTube at the end of the call if we have time for that. Because Kelly Zitlow in our community, I've done a couple interviews with her. We've got a lot of content, but I want to update that. Like, how do we create online content? That does bring up another question that came up in the mortgage coach community this week. Someone was asking for some help on how to, the different ways of taking the total cost analysis and posting it on Facebook. So for whoever asked that question, for whoever's interested in doing that, one thing is the link, the actual total cost analysis link, when you push it into Facebook, it will pull it up. It has a great image, a clickable image. And so whether you put that in the body of the post, maybe not. But if you don't put it in the body of the post, should you absolutely put it in comments? Absolutely. You want to get realtors and families through that total cost analysis. And you want them to realize that, hey, you want me to do one of these for you. So if the TCA is not, the link to the TCA is not in the body, which I do not think it should always be in the body, put it in the comments. So share some ideas on how you've told stories and you've posted and you've used Mortgage Coach.
For a post, I would do a screen share. So I would, video is the most powerful way to reach an audience online. We all know that now. So with Mortgage Coach, it's very simple to use. If you use at Mac, you just QuickTime, right? QuickTime screen record. It picks up your audio. You can click and walk somebody through a TCA, and like Dave said, and then have the link below it to where they can then access it on their own. But we have to show them around the tool a little bit if they've never used it. I think that's the simplest way to start is, hey, everyone, here's a comparison of something I've done. Here's, with the market shifting, here's a seller buy down option. That's been a popular one lately. And you can walk them through it in a video so that you're showing your expertise in using this tool and the service you provide. And then they can access that link on their own to look at it whenever they want.
And he said a key thing, the service you provide. It's not about the technology of the tool to the home buyer, to the consumer. It's about, they like stories. So I want to tell you a story about a family that had this problem, this question, and it's about the strategy. And this is how I help them make a confident decision that save them money and help them build wealth with real estate faster. That's the punchline. So screen share video. I see a lot of people just do a screenshot of it, whether it's on your mobile phone or they use Snagit or some other way to capture it. They'll take a screenshot of the part of Mortgage Coach that's on point.
Yep.
And then think of it as like it's a photo. So a photo of a part of a TCA is part of the post.
To that point, my favorite screen, if you're doing a rent versus own, you make the short-term analysis be 3 years. And I always show that because and then I take a screenshot when you click more info and you open up the short-term analysis. It shows how much money they will have in equity in just 3 years. And we may not, who knows 15 years down the road. I have no idea what my life looks like in 15, but I have a rough idea of what the next 3 look like. it's such a compelling argument, because then they go, geez, I've been renting for 5 years. How much money have I already thrown away? Just that one screen when it comes to first-time home buyers is probably my favorite slide. Short-term analysis, 3 years, rent versus own, click more info, and then screenshot that.
Would it be a big ask if by Tuesday,
yeah,
the holiday, you put one in the group?
Yeah, I'll do it today.
Okay, so he'll do it today. If you have more questions on that, let us know. But whoever asked that question, thank you for asking the question. Hopefully we helped you. So Sean, before we wrap this up, I'm going to want you to share your screen. Did you log into Zoom?
Oh, no, I'll jump in.
So log into Zoom. Michelle Town, are you still here?
I am here, and I wanted to say something that I thought would be very compelling when you're doing your Zoom videos, especially when you're doing like explaining your total cost analysis or something. Make sure that you record it. And when I'm done with my conversations, because usually it's about a 30 to 45 minute Zoom meeting, I let them know, hey, we just covered a lot of information. I want you to know that I recorded this so you can go back to refer to it, and I'm going to email that to you. So make sure you record your Zoom videos, because that's really important. The client then has something to go back for. And then Sean, to your YouTube videos and the things that you're going to do, your library of information, we all have our drip campaigns, right, that we send out, quarterly or whatever. You can start a drip campaign with your YouTube videos, and you send it to your existing database, and, ask them in that database to share the video with somebody else who might be out there looking for it. And that's how you're going to get your video streaming around. And that's how, Kelly's got so many likes and so many views on her videos, because she does that, and I applaud her for that.
No doubt, no doubt. So Maureen just asked, the link you can put in comments, Maureen. So good question. But if you took a picture, like let's just say Sean did the rep versus own, and he took a screenshot of that 3-year period, wrote a post that was compelling and simple, screenshot of that, that's the post. And then you'd put a link, and here's the full total interactive total cost analysis. If you'd like one of these, let me know. And you put the link in comments. So that would be, a great way to showcase the strategy. Eddie just asked, how do you create YouTube videos? And there's so many answers to that. I mean, I will say the most proven, the most compelling YouTube videos are how-tos, how to do this, how to do that, or commonly asked questions.
That's
what are the commonly asked questions? Those are definitely the most common. You were going to say something, Sean?
2 things. How do I get the Zoom ID? Did Marcy send it to me?
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Okay, cool. So, by the way, this whole pros and cons of having an escrow or impound account, I might as well make a video for it. So those commonly asked questions you get, you create that library, because if you have a handful of clients ask the same question, odds are everyone that's in that demographic, whether it's a veteran, a first-time home buyer, those are basically the 2 groups I serve the most. You're going to get the same question over and over, and you can build that library as a resource. And people are probably searching for it anyways. So those are what I work on, is how-tos and then commonly asked questions for YouTube.
Yeah, and you can record those with your iPhone. You can, if you have a great camera, you can record it with that. You can hire a shooter. I would push everybody that the value you're going to have is going to be the quality of just your storytelling and you're explaining it. And I do think, getting the highest end camera on your mobile phone makes a lot of sense. I have an Apple X, but there's a lot of great Android options. What I don't recommend is, if you're serious about personal presence, having, a 5-year-old mobile phone, can you do that? Yes. Should you upgrade? Probably. And then screen share technology. I use Snagit by Smith Tech, but they've got a number of different products. There's a product called Loom, BombBomb. There's just so many ways where you can create video that goes from your desktop, sharing a TCA or some other piece of content, and you go back and forth between, personal connection, my headshot, and the computer. But there's just so many examples. And we are going to dedicate a whole Tuesday call to YouTube videos and all the different kinds of YouTube videos that you can do. If that's important to you and that's a topic you want me to make a priority around, let me know down below in comments, whether you're live or recording. Let me know if that's a big priority for you. Sean, how's it going?
Hey, Dave.
I need the link.
You
Hey,
know what?
Dave.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, Dave, I just wanted to add one more on the video links, and this is important for your realtors or your sphere of influence, the people who drive the business to you. Make sure when you have that tough deal that closed, you know how we spotlight our wins. That's not egocentrical. That's actually helpful to help the realtors kind of open their minds to what you can do. So maybe even do a video around, hey, we just closed, a $2.1 million deal where he had to go non-contingent, blah, 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 and spotlight your strengths as well to your realtor partners or to your, attorneys, to your CPAs, to your insurance people, so that it just keeps you top of mind, but it also opens up their mind to go, oh my God, I just remember somebody ran into that. That might also help your realtors be able to save a deal, or your influencers be able to refer a deal to you.
Love that. Love that. So we're going to close out. We got 20 more minutes. Sean is currently working on getting his computer synced up, and he's going to walk us through a couple total cost analysis that, are how he's delivering advice. But Michelle, I know when we were prepping, you had some ideas. Anything you want to cover for 10 minutes while Sean gets all synced up here?
Love to. So you know that Darren Hardy is how we kind of started this group, Insane Productivity. So all of you guys who are on this call or who are new to this call, that's how we started this. Is how this mortgage mastermind came. And he did a series this week on the strong characteristics of a super achiever. And he did 3 videos of 3 things that he believed when he interviews. And it's not just mortgage people. This is professionals across every industry. And what I really liked, I'll go over the 3 that he did. The first one was you had to be rabid. Rabid about learning, rabid about growing, rabid about grabbing the gold, rabid about making a change if you have to. The intensity of being able to look at your business and change it and know what you want was really important to him. The second one was that he found was conviction. This was the one that really spoke to me, probably because where I'm at in my life right now. He says you have to be convicted about what you do and what you stand for. And he goes, fight for what you believe in. And this was a quote that he said that was like so impactful to me, and I wanted to share it with you. And I hope that it's as impactful for somebody or speaks to somebody. He said, be sacred about the purpose of what you do. You have to have a flame of your faith and a conviction in what you do. And that will drive your business, and that will make you successful. He used an example of Starbucks. For this particular example, the gentleman who ran Starbucks had sold Starbucks after 5 years, and Starbucks started failing, and they had to make some changes in the business plan and start cutting. And one of the stories that he told was the gentleman who started Starbucks, he remembered something about his father. His father never had health insurance and got sick, and he remembers that was very impactful in his life. When when the shareholders were coming to him saying, hey, insurance is the way to go, it's the best way to cut business, he was so convicted. And he said, absolutely not. I will never cut insurance from my employees. And look at where Starbucks has come, because this man came in and said, we'll make different cuts. We'll change something else, but I'm not giving up that, because that was what drove his business and what drives the Starbucks model, and why so many people love working for Starbucks, because he cares about his people. So I thought that was really, really impactful. And the last one, which is, something that I struggle with all the time, and I think every originator, every, assistant struggles with, is valuing your time. You have to understand what your time is worth. I think a year ago we did a video on, how to value what your hourly rate is. And he says to, look at, I'm not on Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter every single hour of the day. I have an hour a day that I can go on to that, because that hour a day is $250 for me. So I just go, okay, I'm going to spend $250 and make this work. And it was very interesting what he did when he used $150,000 as the average income. And he said the average person on Facebook, it costs them $8,600 a year for the amount of time that they spend tweeting that they're eating at, someplace or doing whatever they're doing. He said to come up and, really treat your time as money and remember that this is a finite asset and you have to leverage your time for a great return on your potential. And he said, our challenge right now, and this is another quote that I wrote down. He said, don't be in fear of missing out, rather than search for the living out your own life. And I thought that was very, very, it touched me as well as, sometimes I'll go into I get caught in the thing of, oh my God, what's happening in the world today? And because I'm afraid that I'm missing out on what's going on. But if I can really just dial in that time to just an hour a day I've got an hour a day of social media stuff and searching on the internet and doing what I need to do, that, I spend $250 a day on that. That's what that time costs me. And it's not just business time, it's personal time as well. So I thought that was really important. And I hope somebody gets something from this because it was a great series and it's still available on his Darren Hardy site right now. So if you haven't watched it, I would recommend going there, and I'll put the link up, Dave. I think it's good for another day so you guys can download the videos to your site, but they were really impactful for me.
Yeah, so a couple things. There is a mortgage coach discount for anything through Darren Hardy, guys. So if you don't already have that, let me know, or I'll put the mortgage coach discount. But it's significant. Darren's a personal friend for over 15 years. Before he was Darren Hardy, very, very good personal friend. So check that out. Michelle, if you could put those quotes and a link to that, either put it in comments down below or put a post in our group. Really grateful for that. So
I'll be happy to.
So let's do this. Let's have Sean walk us through a couple mortgage strategies. I'm going to put my phone on mute, and then Sean, you take yours off of mute, and check it out. Sean's going to walk you through a couple of his common strategies.
Am I on? All right, cool.
Yeah,
Okay. Is that me?
Is it still doing
It might be the laptop.
it? The laptop. Is that down? Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. So, what this first one we're looking at is a seller buy down. This loan will be closing next week, and this is on a second home. So, as a new construction second home, they were gonna reduce the price by 20 grand, and I said, let me show you a better way to use the seller's money. And this is the example I built for him. So basically, we're looking at I always show a $20,000 price reduction versus the credit. And my favorite part of a TCA is the savings, the short-term savings. So basically what we're seeing here is instead of lowering the price, you're going to use the seller's money to cover your closing costs. You're going to use the seller's money to buy down your interest rate below market. You're going to save $156 a month, and you're going to save $24,000 in the first 5 years. That's kind of it, right? That's the most compelling part, because I don't think anyone's going to, I don't even go into the 20-year analysis, but obviously the lowest interest rate wins over 20 years. I love this because for anything else we purchase, it's price, right? So if I'm going to buy a car, I want to get it for the lowest price. If I'm going to buy a shirt, I want it for the lowest price. When it comes to a house, if you're paying cash, fine, get it for the lowest price. If you're not paying cash, you need to understand the cost of the money. That's more important. And this is how I show how a seller credit works, or a seller buy down. And I'm not using the seller buy down option in Mortgage Coach. I honestly haven't ever used that. I just build out a normal TCA and compare. So basically, here it is. Your cash to close, if you did a price reduction, would have been $140,000. We're going to come in at $128, which is basically his down payment. And your payment's going to be lower by $156 a month. It's kind of that simple. And this is, by the way, going back to the video and the screenshots, this is the view I always use because it's the same shape as a TV screen, right? So if I'm looking at my phone or something, it's the same shape. So that's why I use this version of it. Any questions?
All right. So hopefully you guys can hear us again on my phone. So, and I think everybody will be able to hear you pretty well from over there. So love this. Oh no, leave it up. If you could put a link to that in chat down below, put a link. Love everything about it. Notice he's got a picture, personal brand, company logo, 2 options, making it really simple, netting it out. Everyone, if you have any questions, put them down below. So here's something else that came up. I interviewed Jim McQuaig about the seller buy down, and he made a really good point. Tell me what you think about this. So he's like, hey, we're getting hit with price compression, and we're getting rate shop now more than we were a year or 2 ago. And we think a year or 2 from now, we're going to make even less. Mm-hmm. How do you think realtors feel? You know, there's tremendous pressure on them getting grinded. So he made the case that when you show a seller buy down and to a listing, and he actually I did an interview, and it was a jumbo product, and it was like a $70,000 difference that it was saving that homeowner. And he said, this is like commission defense. 100%. Like you're helping realtors say that, you know, by using Mortgage Coach, by dollarizing and quantifying mortgage strategies that save money for the listing, for the seller, save money for the buyer, you're helping the realtor justify their commission.
Oh, this is new. So as the compression's happening, there's a group of agents that I work with that coach with one specific real estate coach. They're doing broker buyer agreements. And it says, if the home you're offering on is listed with a discount agent, keep looking at the wrong camera. If it's listed with a discount agent, you're going to make up the difference in our commission. I work for 3%. That's what they're saying. And a lot of people would be scared to have that conversation. You're getting the yes or no faster, right? They know how committed that client is to them. And then once I heard that, it took me a minute to wrap my head around it. You know, basically it becomes a closing cost. So if the buyer's agent's going to get 2.5%, the buyer has to make up a 0.5% difference to get them to 3%. I use TCA to help show the value of the realtor in those situations, because it doesn't mean you're going to have to pay it. If we use a seller credit to pay that 0.5% difference, because the realtor you chose is such a great negotiator, you're not paying the difference. You're just agreeing to understanding the agent you chose is the best. So that's 100% spot on.
Love that. Any other strategies you want to share before we wrap up? So I'm going to put it back on mute, and then if you could take yours off of mute. And
okay, so this one, what is this one? Oh, rental properties. So there's an easy way to show buyers how their projected rent will offset, so they know what their actual investment is going to be. So what I do for that is I use I'm going to show you guys from here. Let's see. Why can't I scroll down? I guess I can't. Basically, if I come to more info here, I'll use the other option under payments to show them an offset. So I'll change it from other to, I'll use this field for debt consolidation, and then using rental income. So what I'm showing here is at a $700,000 price, projected rent's $2,500. Your net monthly cost is $1,100. If it's a $600,000 price, it's $2,000, and so on. So you can use that field to show an offset of projected rental income. And sometimes in the Bay Area, there's a lot of markets where it's actually a positive cash flow. And this one was this is going to be in Pasadena, I think. So that's just another easy way to do it. That other option, when you're creating this debt consolidation, immediately show someone that here's what you're paying in credit card debt now. By doing a debt consolidation, you're going to save $2,000 a month. That's another one I'm literally doing right now. It's one of my favorite fields, along with using reinvestment strategy.
Yeah. All right, guys. So I have had a number of requests recently around how to use Mortgage Coach to help evaluate investment property options. So if you're a mortgage coach and you've done a total cost analysis that was helping an investor make a decision around investing in real estate, please share links down below. You know, there's definitely features we could add that would make it easier and possibly more on point. But I also know that a lot of Mortgage Coach loan officers use the product as is to help, you know, residential investors in property, you know, provide clarity around that. So please share links around investment property TCAs down below. And if you're on this call and you have features that you would like us to add, or if you specialize in helping families that are not families, but investors in real estate, and you have some ideas or you'd like to share on a call, I'm going to be doing some calls to talk about that in the coming weeks. Anything else, Sean?
No, I'm good. This has been fun.
Okay, so stop sharing your screen. Let's come back over here and let's wrap it up. Michelle Town, are you still here?
I am.
All right. So Michelle, I'm going to wrap it up, and I'm even cool if this ends a little early, knowing that it's a holiday week. But any final words of wisdom for the mortgage coach community coming into Memorial Day weekend?
Yes. As we all know, right now your database is your gold mine. Right now, the rates, yesterday's news, we are at rates below May of 2017. So you can see from May of 2017 all the way to May of 2019, you have 2 years of database you should be digging through right now. And whether that, I do what Jeremy Forcier does. I don't send out a blast email. I kind of pick and choose and let, and I have alerts on when people get their credit run, but I pick and choose who I go for. And I'm still, constantly in touch with my clients. I am so regimented on my 6-month call in that first year and my annual call on the first year and my annual calls every year afterwards. I'm still in contact with my clients throughout the other years, but those are my first 2 pivotal points. So just make sure when you're, we're not selling our clients, right? When we're closing their loan, you make sure to remind them when you get ready to close that loan and you've asked for a review, and just to remind them, hey, I'm going to be calling you in 6 months, and my job now for you is to watch out. And when there is an opportunity for you to save money, you bet your bottom that I'm going to be the one calling you to let you know this is a great opportunity for you to save money, so that they're expecting that. And when their servicer reaches out to them, that's going to remind them to call you. So just make sure you're mining your database, because it is your clients are the people who have made you who you are. So reward them back by giving back a little bit to them.
Love that. And Sean, do you have any final comments or thoughts before I wrap it up and share my closing thoughts?
No, this has been great. I'm happy to help. I'll post some links after we wrap up. But if anyone needs anything, on Facebook, Adventure Lender, anywhere, just reach out anytime.
Cool. So guys, I am going to wrap it up with the Mortgage Coach YouTube channel. We've got a military family playlist. So if you have not gone into the playlist dedicated to military families and how you can provide them with better advice and information, highly recommend you check this out. Here's a link to one of the videos in the interview that I just did yesterday. Or not yesterday, but a couple days ago. So check that out. After this call, I will put a link to the military family in comments down below. And if you have more questions, we will keep an eye on this comment after the call. And other than that, I would just say have a great weekend. Remember what this holiday is all about. The men and women that served our country and died for our country. So hopefully you have a thoughtful weekend and you have a great weekend. And hopefully when you do show up to do mortgages for anybody and everybody, you're doing it from the heart of service. You're doing it from the heart of helping people make better decisions. Any last thoughts, brother?
One quote. I was at a Navy SEAL event last weekend, and one of the SEALs spoke. And he said there's a quote that says, "We died in the dark so you can live in the light." That's kind of what they've done for us, right? For Memorial Day. And he said the quote's broken because they didn't die, they got killed. They got killed by people who are doing really bad things. They got killed for us. So for Memorial Day, before we barbecue and party, like Michelle said, stay safe. But remember why this holiday exists. And the only difference between a veteran and the difference between Veterans Day and Memorial Day is veterans signed up to take that risk for us. They just didn't get killed. So we should all be doing everything we can to serve as many veterans as possible.
Absolutely. Then live in the light. Be grateful for what we have. Take care, y'all. This call is a wrap.